So look, somehow, someway, Battlefront 2 is blowing up. This 8-year-old game's player count has skyrocketed recently, more than 10x its usual player count, and it has people wondering what the reason may be. Well, it's not that complicated. Andor Season 2 ended in May to positive reviews, and the May the 4th be with you day happened around that time too. And plus, I don't know about PlayStation Store or Xbox, but this game is like $3 on Steam when there's a sale, and if you use Is There Any Deal, you'll probably find it on sale there too. This game is a ton of fun. Beautiful graphics coming from the Frostbite engine, a decent but small single-player campaign, and a good number of multiplayer and co-op modes to choose from, but there was a storm in paradise. The only reason this game got so much hate around its release was because of the loot boxes and the deluxe edition in the game that came with weapon modifications and epic combat abilities unlocked early for those who bought that edition of the game. And on top of that, they also got upgrades for standard trooper classes on launch, granted them more weapons early, star cards on launch, and a 3D early access giving them a chance to get ahead of other players before the game even came out. Sounds like pay to win to me. Released back in 2017, this massive game was a sequel to 2015 Star Wars Battlefront and a remake of the 2005 Star Wars Battlefront II for PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. When this game first came out, it had fans pissed, with loot boxes encouraging a pay-to-win type of gameplay where you can spend real money for in-game currency to buy loot boxes that could contain weapons, star cards, these cards that you can equip to a class or a character that will give that character a small boost in performance, and stuff like emotes, where another earnable reward through loot boxes, and more. Not to mention a couple of rewards were locked early when you pre-ordered the game. Most were cosmetic, but you also got some abilities. Let it be known, even back then, you didn't need to buy loot boxes to be good. The gameplay is more skill-based. But if some whale wanted to blow a shit ton of cash on loot boxes, they could get star cards and weapons that would give them a small boost, while others had to grind to get the same, which is kinda unfair. After multiple patches and updates, the whole pay-to-win thing got scrapped, and some other problems got ironed out as well, leaving us with this amazing game afterwards. And at the Andor Season 2 and the whole Fortnite Star Wars thing, fans were looking to play a Star Wars game, and there she was, Battlefront 2 in all her patched up glory. Battlefront 2 has a lot of ways to enjoy it. Combat and the graphics are amazing, single player with a pretty short campaign, co-op missions, and about 6 different multiplayer game modes to choose from. I really only liked 3 of them, but the modes were all very enjoyable, except for the Ewok hunt. I didn't really like that one too much myself. And of course multiplayer, with 6 different ways to play. I played all of them to see if I can get a game in all of them, and yup, the game is definitely populated, with even some of the least popular modes in multiplayer being stacked, like Blast and Ewok Hunt. Blast, Heroes and Villains, and Supremacy being my personal favorites. Blast is basically the standard team deathmatch, a classic mode, very fun, no real thought, just running around like Rambo and blasting any enemies in sight. Blast is really good for some dumb action. Running around the Death Star 2 or Naboo is very entertaining, and chopping down enemies with my heavy trooper is priceless. And it doesn't really feel like you need a group of friends to have fun playing either. Well, you don't need a group of friends to play the multiplayer or co-op modes, but some modes are more fun with a group of friends. The Heavy class is my favorite of the standard troopers. I got a little experience with the others, but Heavy is the one I always stick to, and honestly it's the best in the game. My second class would be Assault, but it doesn't feel as powerful or as grounded as the Heavy trooper does for me. Heroes and Villains is by far the funnest thing you can play in this game. Being able to choose from many different Jedi, Sith, and main characters from throughout the Star Wars history is satisfying. Running around challenging some of my favorite characters, and to be honest, getting wrecked, and wrecking some of them, was the most fun I had playing this game. I feel like lightsaber dueling takes some skill, cause I was not having the best time, but still it was fun. I switched to a gun character, and it felt way better. Taking down enemies from a distance, or assisting a teammate while they were dueling was gratifying. And don't sleep on the gun characters either. Lando and Boba Fett were some of the best characters I played with. Especially Lando. I know people think Lando sucks, but still, it was fun for me. Then Supremacy, one of the longer game modes, was packed. These insane intense battles where you basically in a huge game of tug of war, capturing zones and shooting your way to another zone with all kind of craziness going on around you. It really reminded me of Battlefield 1, and I know both games were made by the same studio, but they really did a great job of capturing the perceived insanity of war in the Star Wars universe. And you really could play other Star Wars games. There's a bunch of games that came out since Battlefield 2. Star Wars Outlaws, Star Wars Jedi, The Fallen Order, and Survivor, and God forbid, Star Wars The Battlefront Classic Collection. Star Wars Battlefront 2 making a comeback is shocking, but then again, not really. This is an amazing game with hours of enjoyability stacked within. Jumping back into the game will not disappoint, especially after they removed all the pay-to-win bullshit. But I'll catch you later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Later.